It's midnight! You finally started your paper that's due in 8 hours. Then your favorite jam comes on. Hello? It's me. 3 minutes later, and you're still staring at a blank page. And after one sentence, Eminem is telling you to stand up because you're the real Slim Shady. And now you've started dancing. It's going to be a long night. Sound familiar? More often than not, listening to music while studying can be more detrimental to students than be of help, which is why I believe that students should stop listening to music while engaging in their studies. Hi, my name is Sharon, and after extensive research and years of personal experience, I've come to find the many negative effects of listening to music while studying. Today, I'll be sharing with you the reasons why you should stop listening to music while studying. First, I'll respond to some opposing views, and then how multitasking causes lack of efficiency and also less productivity. Let's first address the concerns and our opposing views that you may have. Like clinical psychologist Dr. Emma Gray, you might believe that listening to music while studying is not a distraction. She claims that pupils are more likely to perform well academically if they listen to music while they study. However, it has been proven that through recent studies that all auditory sounds that you engage in while doing other activities are disturbances. Robin Harwood, writer of the book Child Psychology, says that even classical or instrumental music, although it has a soothing, relaxing effect and can be less distracting, is still a distraction. Like Don Campbell, author of psychology book, The Mozart Effect, you might believe that listening to classical music while studying can make you smarter. However, he claims that the Mozart effect, the idea of engaging in tasks while listening to Mozart sonatas, helps subjects in development become smarter. However, the Mozart effect is an age concept. Dr. Kimberly Moore, a music therapist and professor at the University of Miami, says that in the published research in 1993, the researchers themselves made no claims that listening to Mozart had made subjects smarter. In a more recent study done in 2010, researchers at the University of Wales Institute, Dr. Nick Perham and Joanne Vizard, had just done a study in which 25 participants between the ages of 18 to 25 were tested under various listening conditions, such as quiet, music that they enjoyed, and music they disliked, and a voice repeating random single-digit numbers. The study found that almost all participants performed worse while listening to music, regardless whether they liked it or not. Dr. Nick Perham says that they found listening to liked or disliked music was exactly the same, and both were worse in the quiet control condition. Both had impaired performance. Like the professor of neurology, David Notman, you may believe that multitasking is beneficial. He claims that the ability to multitask can preserve safety as well as the quality of life. However, multitasking has been found to give more negative effects than positive. David Strayer, the director of the Applied Cognition Lab at the University of Utah, has found in his studies that 98% of people can't multitask and that they don't do well in either task. The 2% of people who were labeled as supertaskers were found to have distinct differences in their brain structures. You either efficiently fit in this region or you don't. The 98% of people who can't multitask but think that they can are actually lessening their productivity and efficiency without even realizing it. Brain expert Annie Murphy-Paul shares that multitasking while doing academic work, which is very common among young people, leads to spottier, shallower, and less flexible learning. Now that we have covered some opposing views and concerns that you may have, and assuming that we are all a part of the 98% that can't multitask, let me share how listening to music while studying affects the efficiency of your work. According to Investopedia, efficiency signifies a level of performance that describes a process that uses the lowest amount of inputs to create the greatest amount of outputs. In multitasking, there are 2 stages. First is goal shifting, which consists of deciding to focus on another task other than the one you are presently focused on. Then there is rule activation, which consists of turning off the rules for one task, then turning the rules on for another. This constant switch from listening to music, then to the real task, divides the brain. It creates something researchers have called spotlights, in which your brain is trying to frantically switch between activities, giving each the spotlight and attention. However, in doing this, it causes you to have slower mental processes, therefore causing a lack in efficiency. Oftentimes, students engage in listening to music to make the task they are doing more enjoyable and can convince themselves that it helps them to accomplish tasks faster. Although each task switch may only waste only 1/10 of a second, if you do a lot of constant switching, the time can add up. As a student myself, I can say that it is much more difficult to complete a task while listening to music at the same time for it can cause me to take more time to actually comprehend the material in front of me. According to neuroscientist Etienne Coechlin, the ease with which we juggle tasks depends on how engaged our prefrontal cortex is. This explains why when we are engaged in natural everyday tasks, such as eating or walking, it is easier to multitask, compared to tasks that demands more engagement and concentration in the prefrontal cortex. It causes you to spend a larger amount of time on the task at hand. Now that we know how listening to music while studying can be inefficient, let me share how it causes you to be less productive. Productivity is a measurement of efficiency. It is an economic term describing the relationship between outputs as compared to inputs needed to produce those outputs. Doing more than one task at a time, especially more than one complex task, can take a toll on one's productivity. Imagine that you are trying to read text messages from one friend and also engage in a conversation with your other friend in front of you. When doing both, because of the attention gaps and overload of information processing, it can affect your short-term memory, causing you to be more susceptible and confusing, as well as missing information from either source. In a study conducted by the University of Maryland, researchers found that it is easier to process information when there is minimal level of distraction. It was implied through this study that students should not listen to music or allow any auditory disturbance while studying to obtain maximum performance. Music has a profound impact on our state of being, altering everything from our mood to our heart rate. It can energize or depress us, and because of this, it can be observed as an activity that one engages in and can therefore divert attention from. This could then cause you to do negatively on the present task, affecting your overall productivity. In conclusion today, I have shared with you reasons as to why you should stop listening to music while engaging in your studies. I addressed the concerns and our opposing views that you may have and how multitasking causes a lack of efficiency as well as productivity. So the next time you're working on that paper that's due in the morning or when studying for that exam, turn off your music, focus, and see the magic that can happen. Thank you. Are there any questions?